Hey Aquarius, what's happening? We're here with the timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is the Tower and the High Priestess. All right, in this deck with the Tower, in this specific deck, I see the Tower as something that's coming up from within us. So rather than it being like an external circumstance, I see this as being more of an internal one. And also too, the Tower can be the part of you that wants to like shake out of something or shake loose of something, but it can be doing so in like not the most productive of ways, but it can be something that's coming up where it's like, you can't ignore me anymore. So something along the lines of that is happening. It can feel like something is shaking loose here, is the feeling that I'm getting. But the High Priestess feels like a central energy that's going to be grounding to this. So there may be a part of you that's like, I can't take this anymore, or this thing is just coming up and I can't help it from happening. It's just like revealing itself, whether you want it to or not. This thing is happening, it's coming up, like it can't be pushed down anymore. The High Priestess feels like channeling this in a way that's going to be as beneficial as possible or as productive as possible during a time that can feel chaotic. Tower can feel unstable because it can be like stuff is coming up and like what is coming up, like I don't know what's coming up and I don't have control of like the pressure of this, you know. It's just like something bursting from within, and because of that feeling of implosion and things coming up, it's like it can even be like feeling like a chakra blown open here, where you don't really get to control as much like what's happening with the energy and where it's going. But with the High Priestess, it feels like there is a part of you that's actually able to get a handle on this, so it doesn't have to like destroy everything in its path. Not that that's the worst thing ever, right? Because destruction is just going to lead to like recreation of things. Like nothing is ever like fully going to be destroyed. That particular form of something can be destroyed, but then it's going to take shape in another way. Coming back to what I'm seeing though, there can be a part of you that is almost coming up in some type of, again, it can feel like almost reckless, like it can feel like a snap, it can feel like I can't like hold this in anymore and it's all just coming up. And it can be a moment where whatever this is that's sort of been lurking below the surface shows up, you know. And it can be even happening at an inconvenient time that this comes up, but it's like the energy can't be suppressed anymore. The High Priestess is feeling like a very powerful part of yourself that you're tuning into, that sort of knows how to deal with this energy in a way that can soften the blow here of this. Can feel like things are kind of all over the place. I'm seeing you regain control. This is some very strong Mars energy, having the Tower and also having the Emperor here. Okay. Tower wanting to come up. Tower is going to feel like the most uncontrollable parts of yourself. Like the parts of yourself that are like activated in situations. The Tower is connected with your Mars energy. So it's something that like triggers this energy to come up, where it's like something's happening and this is like the front of the line type of energy that comes through. Now, High Priestess is going to be the part of you that's able to maneuver and soothe that energy to sort of get it to channel in a way. It's like it's coming out anyway, but you can sort of channel the way that it's going to be expressing itself. And the Emperor feels like that moment of taking back control of like, you can't control the fact that this is coming up, but what you can control is what you end up doing with that. And so I'm seeing this be like a really powerful moment where you can feel like this like animal part of myself, or this instinctive part of myself that feels like very, very human, is now connecting with the more like spiritually in tune part of myself that's able to actually channel this immensely powerful energy in a way where I choose the route in which it expresses itself. So you go from something that can feel very explosive and chaotic, and again, like you can't put a cap on this, like it's gonna come out what this is, but then connecting with yourself in a way, connecting with this energy in a way where you get to choose how you channel it and how it expresses itself. So this is about like co-creating with an energy that like the thing is going to be happening, but you get to choose how exactly that's going to be. And the Emperor is a moment of discipline, control. Like the Emperor is Aries, so this is the way of being able to choosing how to channel this energy. And it's going to do so in a way where you're connecting with your self-trust and your ability to govern this, the way that it moves. And to calm things down as well. So rather than it being like chaotically out of control, it's about, what I keep seeing is like the lid coming off of something, the energy coming out, like that not be the part where you get to intercept, but what you do get to choose. I keep seeing like a river, like different channels that the energy can go down, and you get to say like it's gonna go down this one, like it's gonna flow that way. So you get to choose like the directional flow of this rather than it choosing itself in some type of like random way. You're like, nope, we're gonna push it down this way. And so again, like you get to choose it in a way that can be maybe less combative than how it wants to come up. Having Six of Swords shows that we go from Tower, which can be again like a very chaotic instance where this is coming up, the tuning into the energy, like that raw sense of energy, and channeling it. The Emperor is then the decision of where to put it, like once you sort of are able to harness it, which feels like that's what the moon is doing. Then the Emperor is like, it's gonna go this way, because that's like the very Aries energy of like, I'm gonna direct it where it's happening. And then Six of Swords is going to be the like understanding of the process and also the moving forward now. And Six of Swords also alludes to things lessening, where there's less pressure, there's less stress. Six is a sign of there being an alleviation of some sort. So you go from like high intensity to it, like all of a sudden it's like the volcano erupts, but you like safely get to channel where the lava goes, like the channel that it actually takes. And then it goes somewhere where instead of like destroying the whole city, you know, it goes like down somewhere that's like not populated, like that type of thing that's happening. So rather than it being a destructive force, it's an energy that does get to come out and express itself, but in a way where you choose how it does that. I feel like I've said the same thing like 5 or 6 different times, but I'm seeing it be important. This can be a long time coming, like a long time building. Some of you, the Tower already happened. Nice. In the past, when this energy has come up before, like going along with this whole volcano thing, it's like sometimes the volcano erupts, right? It's like a semi-active volcano. With this energy within you that comes out, it feels like before when this Mars energy has erupted within you, that something may have been handled in a way that could have left you feeling like maybe there was a lack of control. It could have felt very chaotic. There can be a way that one did things where they felt like they could have done better. But this doesn't feel like a present thing. This feels like something from the past. So it can be like, this has happened before and I wasn't in the place to be able to get a handle on this, and I also wasn't in a place to be able to like channel this functionally where I felt like I did get to determine where it went, and it led to a time of like great chaos for me, and it made things very busy. Just energetically could have felt very busy. And this, it feels like the return of this energy coming back up again. Like, depending on your Mars, it's going to connect with how this expresses itself. And it feels like Mars and Moon, actually. And I'm seeing Mars, I'm seeing the Moon, I'm seeing Venus, and I'm also seeing Aries here too. Those are the 4 major arcanas that we have here. Mars and the Moon next to each other is a very, very volatile energy, because the Moon is already erratic. The Moon can be like up and down and up and down. Wherever the Moon sits within your chart, that's where you can have like the most oscillation and the most unstable energy within your life. Like, sometimes things are great, sometimes things are very chaotic and all over the place. You can have like the greatest like heights and dips that the energy goes in within. And then having the Tower, this is going to be like sudden bursts of energy, of something gets tripped or triggered, and then it like just shows up and it expresses itself. So having these two like hair trigger energies next to one another, it can be very explosive. However, once one masters this, one can feel like you can't help certain processes that happen, but you also get to like co-create the narrative of sort of the second half of the story, the part that you do get to have a hand in. So can't control it happening, but can control how it happens. So it's going to be something like that. It feels like something along the lines of this had happened in the past, and you could look at it and feel like it wasn't handled in a way that maybe you can handle it now. Like, I don't like the way that I handled it before, but it feels also like learning from that, of a situation that may have turned very chaotic. In this bottom row, like minus the major arcana, I'm seeing a lot of cups here. Having 6 of Cups and 5 of Cups and 7 of Cups, 6 of Cups is going to allude to past time things. This can be like memories that are coming up for you. It feels like it's associated with what one could have done in this situation and what they actually did do. And having 5 of Cups can be like, I wish that I did that differently. Or like, I wish then that I knew then what I know now. Like, it can be that type of thing. But it can also be something where when this happened at the time, it could have also encouraged you to gain control of this in a way where you actually do have that now. Because with the top row, I'm seeing that as being where you are right now. And it seems like you actually really have like learned how to maneuver through a very like challenging expression of energy. That this isn't something that just like takes you over completely and you have no control over it at all. The Tower in this deck feels like the most like volatile, like uncontrollable energy possible, but the way that I'm seeing it be supported through your like practice and discernment and free will and determination, like those types of things, diligence, you being able to control aspects of this, to allow it to be something that is not an absolutely destructive force for you within your life. But there can also be mixed feelings about this popping up in the first place. And that may be something that one is sort of checking in about, but it also feels like through reveling in this, it feels like there's also a moving forward too. This can be connected with like frustrations in the past. It's again like something about Mars energy being triggered. So this can be something that was cultivated when you were small, even if it expresses itself differently now. I'm seeing the moon again, but the moon represents Pisces. So we have Pisces, Venus, I'm seeing Aquarius on the bottom of the deck, Mars, the moon, and Aries. I'm seeing you coming to terms with something, but it feels like on a psychological level, and this can also be a little bit of an unconscious energy that's beginning to come to light. I do see this as being a situation that had like already occurred. So Ten of Swords feels like permission, allowing something to end, but there could have also been something that felt unresolved about what this was that had happened, meaning there could have been a situation that already manifested that you already experienced, but there could have also been feelings within that of like maybe wishing one had done things differently at that point in time, like in the past. So even though it's not a situation that you're currently in anymore, it could have been something that was sticking with you. Because I'm seeing like a time of remember, even though I'm not seeing you be in this energy anymore, I'm seeing this be something that happened already. Now I'm seeing you be in a space where you actually have a handle on this, like a very efficient handle on this, like a mastery level handle on this, okay? But what I'm seeing in the past happen was that there was like a very explosive, destructive energy that manifested, but there could have also been stuff that was going on that there wasn't an awareness of those things yet, and so it could have been like beyond you how to get a handle on this. So it could have just been something that like appeared, this energy that like expressed itself through you at times, and it could have been very, very destructive to what you had going on, but there could have been like a lack of awareness of it, a lack of understanding of it too. Even like the origins of this energy, like why does this come up and where does it come from, and like where is like the kernel of this within me that this ends up manifesting. But then having the High Priestess and having the Empress feels like this tuning in and this connecting that one is making progress with. So this means like from an emotional standpoint, your moon and your Venus next to each other with High Priestess and the Empress, your moon and your Venus is your most feminine energy. Like both of these energies represent women, they both represent feminine energies. It's connected with receptivity, it's connected with creativity, with chaos, with the organic ways that things sort of manifest within themselves, and also our understanding of those things too. So it's like what's going on and why it's going on, like how we understand that to be, what we're feeling, being present to what we're feeling, and where those things come from, like where they began to manifest from. So the High Priestess is going to be that tuning into yourself emotionally to understand why certain things are triggering and then express themselves through your Mars energy. So moon is going to, it looks like in this process, moon is impacted first. So this is the stuff that can happen on a very subtle level, where if you're not totally present to yourself emotionally, it can go like under the radar, but then something happens and this energy just explodes. And it can like totally destroy certain things that happen, like situations that maybe stuff that you care about that you don't want to be destroyed, but the way that this comes through or came through in the past could have just like decimated things. Then having moon next to the Empress here, Empress is about what's important to you. Empress is going to be connected with things like, especially next to the moon, your emotional values, things that are connected with your empowerment, how you want to be treated, cared for, your needs, especially your internal needs. Like, I'm not so much seeing stuff about your external things. I'm more so seeing things about like your internal needs. And you making progress understanding those things because of tuning into it. So it can be things like not being aware of certain boundaries that you have, somebody or people continuing to cross it, not doing anything about it, feeling a growing frustration, not understanding where that's coming from. A situation happens and then that's the thing that you just like blow up over, you know? And even if it doesn't have to be you like angry screaming about something, it can just be doing something very destructive to something that you care about within your life that you don't want to be destroyed, and then like being like, well, now I can't take it back, you know, because things happen. And I'm seeing like certain things did happen that you could have looked back on and been like, why did I do that? Like, why did I handle it like that? But it was just coming from a lack of understanding. Like, you were doing the best that you could in that moment, in those moments, and you learn from it because things happened in a way that was very painful too. Like 5 of Cups and 10 of Swords. 5 of Cups can be like deep remorse, regret, sadness, grieving, having to let go of things, the loss that we can feel. And having Emperor above it is this feeling of like my responsibility. So the onus being on you, where there's a recognition of like, I did that. And that also being a really important step to this, because if there's no ownership, it's like, well, this isn't my problem, or I don't have control over this, you know? So being in a space of understanding how this is like your own energy, and that this also is something that is your responsibility, like you're responsible for the way that you're expressing yourself, whatever it may be that needs to be expressed. You get to choose like the route, the way that it's channeled. Now having 5 of Cups again is those feelings of like regret or loss or mourning, or like, why did it happen like that, you know, these things, like I can't take that back, you know, like all of that stuff setting in. And also too can be times where we realize like the standards that we hold for ourselves, and also seeing where our actions don't always align with that, and that also be teaching you about your values too, through understanding sort of what needs to be rectified emotionally. Like I have these values, I don't understand them so much. The way that I understand them more is when I'm in situations that either align or don't align, and through like the difference, I'm understanding how to sort of shift that more into place so I can feel congruent. And then 10 of Swords is going to be those situations that they've already happened, you can't go back into them, but being stuck with that feeling of like, this isn't sitting well with me, or this isn't sitting right, or like having those things close out where it's like there's pain about that, and that's something that I don't want to keep continuing the cycle of. Having 6 of Swords come up is feeling like I'm now able to move on from this, move forward from this. I don't have to keep experiencing this because I'm understanding now stuff that I wasn't understanding before. And having 7 of Cups come up is you working, doing the emotional work as you're processing, as you are learning to understand yourself better, and like your core and how it wants to express itself and what's important to you, and also honoring yourself too. So this is like a deep dive into your emotions that's happening. And having Tower and having the Sun here, like we start with the Tower, we end with the Sun. These are two very hot energies here. Having Mars and having the Sun, they're both like very combustible energies. Like the firepower of both of those, that's Aries and it's Leo. And so it's all about expressing things and how heat leads to movement, how the spark or the inspiration or the breath leads to something expressing itself, energy expressing itself. The moon is going to be an energy that was once like unconscious, that is moving into consciousness through this process. So these are cycles that don't need to be repeated anymore because you're grasping them, because you're learning what's going on, which is just like understanding how the energy works. And then you move forward and things very much calm down because of that. And you can feel like more of a sense of direction too. Like you don't have to keep going around the loop of like building, destruction, having to build again in a way where you've understood that like rudimentary aspect of the cycle. So now you can like advance further. So I'm seeing this be sort of a review of what's going on within the energy and feeling like you don't need to, whether it was conscious or not before, burn things all the way to the ground. There can be a sort of like maybe burn this little part, like redo this here or there, but it doesn't have to be like a complete destruction of things. And so I'm seeing you like learn better how to express yourself actually through this whole process. And things not being so like mentally, energetically, psychologically chaotic anymore. Like things actually really smoothing out. But again, like through this sense of comprehension and understanding of things. This feels too like gaining back a sense of self-confidence where you don't feel like there's this uncontrollable energy that lives within you and you're just like destined to destroy things. This is feeling like very Pluto to me. And instead you can feel like more understanding of yourself, and so you're not doing things unconsciously anymore. There's like more of a sense of awareness here of things that are very subtle and very difficult to pick up on, but this is what happens when you're like serious about your self-reflection and learning about yourself and understanding, and also being present to your emotions and learning from those things, which means like actually integrating the lessons that you're going through. So nice job with all of this. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I am sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.